Hi, I'm Codie Elaine Oliver. I created the popular Black Love docu-series with my husband after seeing the lack of Black people in media and entertainment in happy, loving relationships. We were actually being told there was a Black marriage crisis. So I asked Black people who were married what it takes to make their marriage work. And after more than 200 interviews, I've heard it all. So buckle up and enjoy getting the full story directly from the couples themselves. This is Black Love, the Interviews. Tommy and I sat down with Tia and Cory in 2015. Actually, it was January 2015 because Tommy and I were getting married in February. And we had known them each individually for a very long time. And so this was really just a fun interview for all four of us. And in addition to their playfulness, you can also tell that they were just so in love. After 15 years together, 8 years married, and they only had one baby at the time, so they had certainly lived some marriage. But you don't need me to tell you the details. Listen in as Tia tells us how she and Cory first met.
We have to be honest, there weren't any sparks right away. And I think for me, it was because I had just gotten out of a terrible, horrible, it wasn't even a relationship.
You want to say who?
No. Oh my
God,
Cory.
I know she was going to say no.
So this was the first person that I had ever dated in my entire life. And it was not a good relationship. So I was extremely guarded. I was like not wanting to date, do anything like that. But my first impression of Cory, we did this movie called Hollywood Horror. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at him and seeing the type of shoes he had on. They were terrible. They were horrible. And it was wardrobe. They were like the Birkenstocks. Like, who puts a brother in Birkenstocks?
It was a low budget movie. They gave me what they had in size 11s.
And I was like, what kind of shoes are you wearing? Do you remember that? When we were shooting
I remember that, yeah.
Yep.
I had the open toe sandals, my feet were out, but I was just excited to be working.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. Yep. That was the first time I met Mr. Hardrict.
Yeah, that was the first time. I was working with the girls from Sister and Sister.
Yeah.
That was it. But they were really cool, and I was just kept my space. And I was just excited to be working. And then what happened was I got off work, and I was waiting for the bus to get a ride home. I remember, and it was very embarrassing, downtown LA. And I lived in Inglewood at the time, in a bad
off
area.
Manchester.
And I lived off Hazel on the Brea, right by Manchester. And they saw me at the bus stop. That was the most embarrassing thing ever. And they drove by, and then I remember that way they waved, kind of and I was like, damn, they caught. And I got to come back to work tomorrow and see them again. So I'm like, oh man, forget it. So they pulled back and wanted to give me a ride. I was like, no, and then they did give me a ride, and I felt like, oh, they're really cool. They took me all the way to Inglewood. So that's how it kind of started the friendship a little bit.
Yep. And then towards the end of the movie, my sister and I, we were 20 at the time when we met. And we were turning 21, and we had our kind of big birthday bash. And I didn't invite him. My sister was the one that invited him.
She liked me, so she be hating to this day because,
She's going to kill you for that.
Tia got a real one. So.
Shut up, Cory. No, but Tamara had invited him to our birthday party. And I remember you even showed up with a girl.
I sure did. Yeah, because I was a single man. I mean,
But he did, I will never forget this.
I had a curl, everything.
And I asked him too, I said, the first thing that he did when he showed up at my birthday party, or our birthday party, was he said, where's your mom? I want to meet your mom. And I was like, okay, why do you want to meet my mom? And still you told me that you just wanted to see what she looked like.
Yeah, that was it.
I was like,
I
okay.
See what her mom looked like. That was all. She was a beautiful chocolate lady,
Yeah.
So. And she was real cool, and that was that.
Then after the party, how did you get my number? Was it from Tamara? Is that how you got my number? Because I never gave you my number. I think Tamara gave you my number for kind of the party connections or something like that, right?
I don't remember.
But anyway, The movie's over. I don't call him or anything. And he just starts calling me. And he's like, I remember when he called me for the first few times, I didn't return his phone call. And like I said, because, I just didn't really, my mind wasn't really to be in a relationship or part of a relationship or anything like that. I was hurt. But not only that, during this time, I was reading a book about relationships. And I said, the next time I get into a relationship, I want it to be a serious one.
And you say you prayed to God or you asked God?
Yes. And then
and I called you some story you were out eating.
Oh, wait, no, that's another story. I'll tell you that. That's a good story. We've never told anybody that story.
Yeah.
No, but it was a book about courting. And so it kind of just changed my whole perspective about dating and what dating was all about. Because like I said, for me, I wanted to date to get married. It wasn't about just hanging out, doing whatever, having fun, and that's it. If I was going to be seeing somebody, it was going to be something serious. Mm-hmm. So anyway, he had called me several times, and he was like, can't you call nobody?
I remember, yeah.
Can't you, talk to nobody? And I was like, this guy is, persistent. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to call him. And we just started talking on the phone. Mm-hmm. Just, regular conversations. And then, this is so cool, actually. Then you just started to ask me out, to hang out.
And we all started hanging out together, like her sister, one of my friends, and we would go to the movies together, We would go, where else would we go?
There was this one time, because like I said, it was all about courting. I was just very cautious. I wanted to be, and then not only that, here I am, I'm on sister, and I was just very sensitive about that, about just dating and stuff like that. So there was this one time, we all went out to eat at, what was it, the Chinese, was it P.F. Chang's in Marina Del Rey? No, Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. It was Cheesecake Factory.
It was Cheesecake Factory.
I know what she's about to tell you right now.
And so, like I said, we had been hanging out. My sister would hang out with me. My cousin would hang out with me. They would play basketball together. And then we all went to Cheesecake Factory. And then on our way out, I was in the car with my sister, and he was like, stop.
All right, let me tell you.
Okay, you tell the story.
Let me tell you what happened. I got to say this. I remember we were leaving. And I was so embarrassed because I had bought her some flowers. I remember, because I didn't have a lot of money, I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. I don't remember even eating a lot that night. You know how you try to hide it when you, like the struggle year when you get out here and you're like, no, I'm cool. I'll take a salad or some what. So I remember the dinner was over and they were leaving. They were getting in the car and I was like, I had flowers and I had them in a trunk. Mm-hmm. I remember I had just got a Sebring, right? Mm-hmm. Like the old school Sebring. I thought, it was my first car out here. And
it had a little hum to it too.
I had some beats in there and everything, but it was just kind of like, okay, I put the flowers in the trunk. I remember I bought them from, I think Ralph's or something, but they were the nicest flowers from Ralph's you can get, right? So I had them in the trunk. And
they were red.
I remember.
Roses.
They were walking off and I was so embarrassed because I was like, man, I don't want to give her these flowers in front of all her friends and her family and her sister. I got to pop my trunk and give her flowers. And what did I do, Tia? Did I say, I think I pulled you to the side, right?
Yeah.
I just said something like, come here. And I just said, I'm going to do it because I think you were going out of town.
Okay.
You were leaving or something. And I said, I might not see her again. These flowers going to rot or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember me giving her the flowers. And I opened the trunk and gave her the flowers. And I was like so embarrassed. And I was like, oh my gosh, she probably gonna never see me again. That was the corniest thing. But then I said, you know what? It
wasn't. That was when my heart melted. And I started to kind of go, oh, this guy is different. This guy is amazing. He's so sweet and generous and kind, and the gifts didn't stop flowing. What was cool too was, even still to this day, he never just gives me a gift on Valentine's Day or my birthday. He's always showering me with gifts, randomly. And then he had given me this G-Shock watch with a Cupid that would shoot out, an arrow.
Didn't I have a matching watch? Didn't I have a watch too?
I don't remember that. But I remember because it would light up in the dark. And I remember just being in the bathroom and just just looking at this watch and just going oh my God, this is so cool. I'm falling in love with this person. And then cut to, I remember I had shot a movie. I was around 2021 and I was in, Canada shooting 17 Again. And this is the story that we hadn't told anybody.
Yeah.
So after you had given me the flowers, this was the time that I had.
Time?
Yeah, I had gone to Canada. Mm-hmm. So I remember there was this one time where I was that night, I was going to bed and my phone rang. And I said, whoever this is who's calling me, I'm going to marry them.
She did tell me that.
Yep. Just random. I was just like, whoever this is calling me. And, you know, I didn't have guys calling me. I just didn't. I didn't know who was, you know, I just didn't know. And then it was Cory. And when I saw it, I was like,
she said, damn. Damn.
No.
What wasn't for me was I felt like she was a real great person. You know, she was honest and, you know, she loved the Lord. And I love God because I have a lot of faith. You know, I'm not like super, you know, spiritual or religious, but I know what got me to this point, and that's God. So hands down. But she, you know, she was a great woman of integrity, had a great heart. You know, she was beautiful and she cared about me. And she cared about me, the person. You know, I didn't have nothing like financial.
I would drive him all the time to
I had no money, so it wasn't about money. She saw my heart, and that meant a lot to me. And she was down with me when she had everything, if you know, whatever that means. But the most important thing is she had a great heart, and she saw mine, and she saw my my potential as a person, believed in me. And so that meant everything to me. And I was just like, wow, she's a real cool person. And it was real from the beginning. It wasn't like fake. And I wasn't trying to sell a dream. You know how somebody come up trying to I wasn't doing none of that.
He wasn't like that. You know, there are some guys who always have, and I know, you know, for me, it's like if we would go out, you know, with people, there was always that loud guy that was always trying to get just a whole bunch of attention. And it was like, that wasn't Cory. Cory was just chill, laid back, really cool, shy, and I liked that about him. But when the spark started to happen for me was, like I said, when Cory and I, we had went out on a date. And still to this day, I remember what I had on. I had on a FUBU sneakers.
Shoes? Was it a black? Did you have an orange jacket?
I had on an orange sweater and black pants.
Tights.
He had on an Allen Iverson shirt.
And I had an afro.
I had an afro. And I was
wearing braids and twisties back then.
And I was going to Pepperdine University at the time, so we would always hang out at this park in Calabasas. So Cory and I are just sitting there, you know, talking. I don't know if it was my cousin, I think, was there too. He was playing basketball.
Her cousin, who challenged me into a game of basketball, and I whooped him every time. So
But what got me was we're just sitting and chilling, and he asked me to kiss him.
I asked for a kiss.
He asked for a kiss. Like, who does that?
My heart was pounding too. My thing was boom, boom, boom.
And when he did that, I was like, this guy is so sweet. And his heart is a heart of gold and just amazing. And when he asked me for a kiss, that was like, you know, when a woman like kind of like just falls to her knees and just take me. You know, it was kind of like that. It was that moment for me. After that moment, Cory and I, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's kind of like when it started. And I remember he had told me he loved me. I will never forget what I was wearing when you told me you loved me. I was wearing these blue overalls. And I remember when we were on the phone, we were talking and I was leaning up against the wall and it made my blue overalls made a little mark on the wall. I never washed that wall till I've moved out of the house. I never washed because every single time I would look at that mark on the wall, I was like, that's when Cory told me that he was in love with me.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this: every Christmas or birthday, I felt the pressure mounting because she would look and it wouldn't be no ring.
Every Christmas, Cory?
No,
that's
not every.
Not true.
I think up until the last year, when she had a birthday, I think she was expecting like something.
Last year, what? Like
before it happened, before we got engaged.
Like year.
No, I remember.
6,
I felt
7.
the pressure, and we would talk about it on the phone. She would throw little hints like, you know, like that. It's probably not gonna work out if he ain't trying to marry me. Like, what are we doing? We just dating, and she don't date, and. You know, and so I was kind of like, man, you know, I have to marry her. But it wasn't like I didn't want to marry her. I just wasn't ready financially. I'll be honest. I felt like I was afraid. I was scared. I was just like, man, you know, this is serious. But then I said, you know what?
But I think we have
Hold
to
on,
bring.
babe. Let me finish.
Sorry.
So I went back to my old saying of what brought me here. What brought me here was faith on that plane was $75. And I said,
this
okay.
is nice to know. You never said this.
No, but so I said, well, you know what? Money's not everything, you know, and people think that it is, or that's what, you know, you'll get fake people and fake friends and all that with money. But I said one thing. I said, you know what? I got faith, and that's one thing I never waver is my faith and my belief in myself, God, my mother, and heaven looking down on me. I said, you know what? I'm gonna step up and make a move, and God gonna take care of us. And that's just the honest truth. And I said, I'm gonna get a ring. I didn't have a lot of money, but I got a really, really nice ring. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna make this happen. And that's the truth. I said, I love her. She loves me. It's real. We'll make it work no matter what. I don't care what people gonna say. They probably, why are you marrying this broke? You know? I said, whatever. We gonna make this work. Christmas rolled around, you know. What happened? The song?
Maybe at the altar.
I think I queued the song up with Jagged Edge, boy. Tommy, what? I queued the song up.
We were at my mom's house.
At her mom's house. I did it in front of everybody.
Yes, you did.
And
I didn't expect it.
I did. I caught everybody off guard, and the ring was nice too. I saved all my commercial money.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Yeah. And she said, "What'd you say, man?" You said yes, but how'd that go down? I'm trying to.
It was just really simple. You had.
But you were crying.
Oh gosh.
The family was there, and they were scared, looking like.
He had cued the music.
No.
Oh, you had Taylor cue the music. You had
I had one of your brothers, or
He
Todd.
had incorporated
the
my
family.
brothers in the whole thing, and
Of
then
course,
you
I
had,
asked everybody.
and then
permission.
you had a card for me. Do you remember that?
I had a card.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it said, "Will you marry me?"
It was just simple.
And then you got down on one knee,
Down.
and you opened up the box.
I remember.
With a ring in it, and then you put it on my finger, and then you asked me to marry you, and I just cried and I cried and I cried.
Yeah.
It was
That's how it
amazing.
happened.
It was,
And we're still together.
yes, it was a really, really
Hands cold.
special moment.
Yeah.
And then we ended up getting married a year after that,
Yep, in 2008.
and then we've been married for
Almost
almost 7
6 and a
years
half.
now. We lived together for 3
Couple
years. 3 years before we got married. I know some people are a little, because I grew up in the church, and my mom wasn't too fond about that. But I think everybody has their own way of doing things. People used to always say,
Tia
"Tia,
taught me how to clean. I was nasty. Like
he's
I
a
was
hoarder."
You would open up closet,
No,
everything would fall out.
disgusting.
Bam! All on the drawers everywhere.
Like disgusting.
Yeah, I was
Hoarder.
nasty. So that was helpful because
Oh
if
my
we would've,
God. But
yeah, that was real helpful.
But people were like, "You were so happy during your wedding. You were so." It was like you were giggling, and you were. It was. You were giggling walking down that aisle, and I think because we had been together for a long time, we had lived together for 3 years. I know him. It's not like I had no fear. And so it was literally a party for us. It was literally a celebration for us. And I found that it was,
Man,
it's
that Kenny Lattimore when he sung that song
yeah,
too.
Kenny Lattimore.
Wasn't it for you?
For you.
Oh, okay.
It was. I was bawling.
Yeah,
It
that was
just,
good. That
it was
good.
so amazing, so beautiful. Yeah. Corey, do you want to share with him what you told me about the whole marriage thing and like if things have changed or not? Like one thing that I loved, what Corey would say.
They refreshed my memory because I got a
Well,
brain
you
freeze
know,
right
people
now.
are like, some people were like, why are you going to go ahead and get married? Like you guys were together, for 6 or 7 years. You're just going to, it's just going to be so much added pressure. Corey was like, there is no pressure. You put the pressure on yourself.
Mhm.
Like you really do. Nothing changed. I mean, when we first started dating, for me, I know that commitment level was already there because I wasn't playing around with dating.
Mhm.
It was all about courting, and this is whoever I date, this is the person that, I'm going to see myself being with for the rest of my life. So with me already having that mentality, it wasn't like that pressure was was there. And then if anything, it's like, it's a built-in, I see Cory as my partner in crime. You know, it's like, I'm not doing this alone.
And Tia's been with me every step of the way. Like through the ups and downs, the bad, the ugly, she know ins and outs, everything. You know, she knows it all. So it's like, I'd rather share that with somebody, you know, for the rest of my life than someone who don't know you. And then when everything, just say if everything was great, you don't know if it's genuine. You don't know. You don't know if it's real. You know, at least I know Tia got my back, you know, to the grave. So I know she's with me and she knows I'm with her. And that's just, you know, everything's not perfect. You know, marriage is work.
And that's,
marriage is work.
it
I'm
is.
not here.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not going to be here like, you know, everything is wrong. You have to work hard, you know, to stay married, you know, and stay together. You know what I'm saying?
I think for me is, and I think this is what helps make a marriage successful, is having a realistic perspective on your marriage. When you're in a relationship, you have two different people. We're still, you know, you could have the same goals, the same faith, the same way you do things, but still, he's grown up in a household. I've grown up in a household, and you have different ways of living and different ways of tackling tasks in life.
Yeah.
So when you have a realistic perspective that you have two different ways of doing things, but you have to work at coming together, I think that's what's helpful, because you're not automatically assuming that everything is going to be perfect, and you're supposed to understand the way I live or the way I do. No,
because the way Tia was raised and the way I was raised, it was similar, but it was totally different.
He grew up with a single mom.
I grew up with a single mom who raised me, you know, who was mom and dad, you know, until I was 18, and then I raised myself until now, you know, so that's all I knew, and that's all I know. I've been alone. It was difficult a little because, you know, she had a certain structure, you know.
My parents
holidays
were in the military.
Yeah, they have a different order, so they always have, you know, Thanksgiving dinner,
Cory's
Christmas
the biggest
dinner.
procrastinator.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, I am. Tommy know that, but no, they have just structure. I didn't grow up with that structure, you know what I'm saying? Like, with a father figure in the house, so it's kind of like, but being around Tia, we brought it together, and she's helped me grow as a man, or just looking how to pay bills on time, or be more organized,
or he's helped me to relax a little, you know, not be so.
But I've also taught Tia how to dream and have no fear and take risks in life, and that's what has gotten me to this point. I'm not afraid of nothing, you know. It's like, and I learned a lot from her, and we bring it together and we make our family work.
There's no judgment.
Yeah, there ain't no judgment.
There's no judgment, and patience is a virtue, definitely, in a marriage.
Yeah, she's had a lot of patience with me.
Hi, everyone. I know you're enjoying hearing from this couple, but I had to take a minute to answer a question we always get asked. Where can I watch the Black Love docu-series? Where can I watch Black Love shows like Couch Conversations, Doula Dads, Male vs. Man, Moms with Coffee? Well, Tommy and I created a solution. The Black Love Plus app is available to download now for free, thanks to our friends at Target, and it includes all your favorite Black Love content, including some of our live events that you might have missed, filmed for you and available now on Black Love Plus. You can download it wherever you get your apps, Apple TV, Roku, your Android, your iPhone. Just do it today. Download the Black Love Plus app.
You know what? I think this is important, and this is what I was going to tell you. But when we were dating, there was a period of time when Cory and I, we broke up for like maybe a month or two.
I wasn't going there, but go ahead.
But it's important to know that I think, and some people tell me I broke up with my boyfriend, and I was like, you know what? It's okay. You need to see what it's like without that person after you guys have been connected and have fallen in love. Because it really actually makes you realize how much in love you really are with that person. When you're separate from that person, you're like, oh my God, like, I can deal with, everybody has baggage. It's just what kind of baggage can you deal with? Everybody has something in their trunk. They do. But it's like when you separate from that person, you're like, my God, like, I really, really love this person. I know that this person has some baggage. I know that this person's not perfect, but I'm in love with this person. And sometimes it's good for you to separate yourself to realize that. So when struggles come up or when blocks in the road come up, you go back to that place. And it's like, I didn't like how I felt when I was away from him. I didn't like how I felt when I was separate from him.
Well,
so we're going to work
up a storm. I couldn't tell at the time, but
So he's just kidding. So we're going to work through this. So that's that.
Something that really struck me about our conversation with Tia and Cory was not just their playfulness, which Tommy and I certainly knew independently since we were friends with them, but it was their commitment to each other. At this point, the two of them had been together for 15 years. And as Cory says, they were each other's number one fans, and you can tell. So as we move into the second half of the interview, take note of their peaks and valleys and how they got through them.
I don't think my career had to take on a back burner because...
No.
You answer first. You shaking your head like you got something to
No,
say.
I don't think that the relationship has suffered because of it. But if we didn't pay attention, it could. So it's very easy for that to happen. But Cory and I, we have a rule where, because I do... Go ahead.
We do have a rule, but when you're overseas, being in Morocco a few months or going to Hungary for 4 months, I can't come home every 3 weeks. That was the rule.
That's the rule.
That was the rule.
Yeah.
But what happened was the rule had to change when you're 14 hours away,
But when it's
stateside,
we always see each other every 2 to 3 weeks. He'll come out and visit. I'll come out and visit. But the longest when he was in Morocco, Budapest, is a month. That's the longest. But
no, it was longer.
Really?
It was longer, baby, yeah.
Like how many? No, it definitely wasn't 2 months.
It was longer. Well, I came home once and then you guys came at the end.
Yeah, so I think it was like maybe the most 5 weeks, but...
Either way, it was hard.
Trust me, I know.
It was tough. It was hard. And
It's hard.
I heard about it. Trust me, the distance and the time, you go through, a lot of, Skypes and just, lonely nights. I'm going to be totally honest. When you say like careers evolving, I don't think so. I just think I'm working. Like I never really think I'm doing anything, to be honest. Like I don't think I'm getting ahead. I don't think that, it's just like I think so low of myself far as in that world, but I don't think low of myself far as the confidence and far as working. So I never put myself in that space to say my career is going somewhere. So I never really know where it's going.
Yeah, but I think she's saying like in regards to the more your career starts to evolve, the more you start to work, the more you're gone out of the house, the more you're focusing on your career and you're away from your significant other. How does that affect the relationship? And I think for us,
I miss my family.
I think the key is you have to create a foundation. And you have to create, I'm not saying rules, because that's what I meant by we don't put a lot of pressure on our marriage. When you start to just do all of these rules, you put too much pressure on it. You're like, oh God, and sometimes when you make rules, it's like, oh, I want to break it. You know what I mean? So we just talk about what would make us comfortable, what would, make us happy. And we communicate that. So I think the key is to, first of all, have a foundation within your relationship. And what I mean by foundation is trust, time, understanding each other, knowing each other. And I think that's what helped with us because we share the same business. So I understand that he has to be away for 4 months. Maybe some other person wouldn't necessarily understand it because they don't live that. So I think that's what I meant by having some type of foundation or understanding of what the other person is doing, and then talk about it. What would be beneficial for you? What would be beneficial for me? Making sure you talk to that person 2 or 3 times out of the day, making sure you Skype that person. But again, it is hard. It's not easy. And I'm not going to say that it is easy. But like say he came home from shooting 7 months out of the year. So what Cory and I will do is we'll take a trip to New York with just him and myself. And
that was nice.
It's like you rekindle things, you know what I mean? And
Nice dinners.
Yeah, like it was really nice. So you put in that extra time, and I think that's what helps, right?
Yeah, have some nice love making.
Cory,
That
my
worked, too.
God,
That
so embarrassing.
was embarrassing. Well, you're gonna get the truth. Everything revolves around our son now. Everything. His schedule, his school, his playtime, his life. And that's the most important thing to both of us is our son. So it's just like the career has to come secondary, but at the same time, the career is what helps provide to make his life better.
But how did that affect our relationship when we had Cree?
How did it affect our relationship?
Like the dynamic.
It was, it was about Cree, get out the room or something, But
the boob was for Cree, not for Cory anymore.
Yeah.
He was like drinking my milk.
But that's okay.
I'm like, really, Cory? This milk is for Cree.
I would have her pump
like,
the milk and kill like 2 swigs,
really?
real fast.
I'm like,
and it was
this
so
is
good.
like
I would put it on my face and everything.
Milk. I'm like,
so
what
good.
are you doing?
It was good though. He's in the middle, and it's just like I'm on the edge. Here go the edge, and I'm on the edge right here. The knees out the edge, but you can't get mad because he's in the middle, just laid out like this. And yeah.
What I say is, a lot of people are like, did that interfere with your sex life? And I'm like, no. If anything, Cory and I, we just started to try different places. Like, you know what I mean? You don't just have.
Don't be lying, baby.
Sex in the bed. No, that's
not
true.
Not in the bed with the baby. That don't sound right.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Thought you said
this one right here. Other places.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You got to get it where you can get it.
Exactly. But it was hard. And and because of that, I will tell people this. Don't ever think that a baby is going to just bring you closer. It brings you closer for a minute, but then reality hits. And I remember we would have more arguments when, Cree came because you're tired, you're exhausted. But again, when you have that foundation and when you know that you really love that person and that person really loves you, you don't question it.
It's like your turn. I remember, hold on. Now it's coming to me, see. Now it's coming to me. It's like this. You know how your child wakes up in the other room and you take turns on getting up. I remember one time, 3 nights in a row, Tia would act over there like she just sleep. And I'm looking at her like, it's your turn. She wouldn't even get up. And I would have to stump out the bed.
Well, there were times when I would be breastfeeding Cree, and he would be knocked out, and I'm giving him the evil eye. I'd be like, yeah.
But I'm like, it's your turn to get up.
Tia, and tired, and you're just over there.
I'll throw the cover and stir him out the bed. You know it was your turn. And she over there acting like she just knocked out. But,
those are the things. Right. But I will say this. What helped was not assuming what the other person should do. Because sometimes, a guy will just assume that, that's a woman's job. But I think what's so beneficial and helpful in our family is we don't have gender roles in our marriage. We don't. If I am working or I'm not available.
Tia had to go to New York or go out of town, I keep my son.
It was crazy. It looked like a tornado hit the house.
It did.
My son was walking around naked all day. Couldn't even put a pamper on him.
He was walking around butt naked. But he was eating. We were eating spaghetti. We had fun. We was wrestling and playing. Tia come back and we just sitting there and she'll walk in and he naked.
It was
with sauce on his face, but
just with shoes.
But that's how
my son just had on a pair of shoes.
Well, listen, that's how I know how to take care of my son. It got done. And it was great.
But we don't have gender roles. So my point is, I think what really helped us in that state, now it's hard, don't get me wrong, was, Cory would wake up in the middle of the night. And I would pump and put breast milk in a bottle and he would feed him.
Yeah, we did it together.
Yeah. So, but I think a conversation needs to be had.
Yeah.
Instead of you automatically assuming, well, this is what you do and this is what you do. You communicate and you say, I would like you to do this. Or what I'm doing now is I'll do like little heart-shaped notepads. And I'll place them in our room.
On the TV.
And I will say,
you better hug me tonight.
I'll say, I like to be held. That makes me happy. Or I like to be understood. So just putting little things like that throughout the house, just reminding, communication. So it helps.
Communication is key.
Yeah, it is.
Tia's supportive of me. She puts up with me because I'm a little crazy. But I mean, it's a good crazy, but it's just me. She understands me, but she supports me. And she's
how do I support you?
Everything. Just everything. If I need to talk to her, she's there, you know, for great advice. I mean, she's there to comfort me. I mean, she cooks pretty good. She does everything. She's like the super mom.
Oh, thanks.
And then
Cory.
she's my number one fan.
I am.
She's on me, and you know, well, y'all need to hear some of them conversations we have around here. But no, it's yeah, everything it's genuine. It comes from a real place, and I know that, and that's always a great feeling to have when someone's really in your corner. So I love her to death.
I love you too. To death.
Yeah, even though she get on my damn nerves.
You get on my damn nerves.
I
But
mean,
that's a part of a relationship, you know? I think we're very realistic. I think that's what's really cool about our relationship. I think that's what's really helped us be together for 15 years. We're realistic that relationships are going to be like this. There are times when I'm like, wow, like last year was pretty tough. But this year, it's good that we stuck, you know, to it, or we continued to be there for one another, or had patience with one another and worked out whatever issues or difficulties that we were having, because that next year is like a completely different year and an even better year.
Yeah.
You know,
Every year seems to get better.
it does.
Like
It
as
really
a family
does.
first, as growth, development, careers, everything gets better.
And I fall more and more and more in love with him. I really do. But it's not that gushy, you know, like the fake, I don't know, you know, some of these romantic comedies, they're so fake. And it's the more of like, man, you really are my best friend.
And I
Like-
think time has been like the result of that is we've been together a while, so it can't be that fake, because a lot of people get together, you see them, they in love and tattoos, and it's over in a year, 2, 3, it's done. But we still in it. So
He's like a part of my body. You know what I mean? It's like I can't even visualize myself without Cory.
Yeah, she tried to put me out many times.
Oh,
That's
yes.
another conversation.
Oh,
Off
yes.
record. No, I'm playing.
Like what?
How do we get through our rocky roads or our complications? How do you think we get through them?
We get through them because we love each other and we know we want to be with each other. So we make it like, even though you have fights or little spats here or there, you know love's going to conquer all. And if it's real and we know it,
Hi, Cree.
so we work it out.
He's obsessed
Come here,
with
baby.
garbage.
Hey, Cree, you're about to be on camera. Come here, man.
Here, let's take this off.
Come here, son.
Yeah.
Tell them how old you are.
Tell him how old you are.
Huh? How old are you? Tell in the camera. How old are you? What did daddy teach you if somebody push you? What did daddy teach you if somebody...
He's going to punch. This is what I have to deal with.
Okay, son.
Cory? Oh, crap.
See, now he's being a garbage truck. So now
he
he's
plays
going,
the garbage truck all the time. Like,
the advice that I would give to a couple who's about to get married.
Wait, no. Watch out.
Oh gosh, what advice would you give them? I have advice in regards to the wedding ceremony itself, but to give a couple, I think the advice that I would give couples who are about to get married is just really have realistic expectations about your relationship. That nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing.
There's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of communication, and just talk it through. Just don't say, I'm leaving. You got to talk it out. You know, I believe you should talk out everything, you know, and work through it. If you really love each other and it's real, work through it. Nothing can be not corrected.
I think forgiveness is the key. Knowing that, this is what I mean by being realistic and about your expectations, that there are going to be times when you are going to hurt the other, whether it's just something you said, something you did, because we are not perfect people. There is going to be a time when your husband is going to lash out at you. There is going to be a time when you're going to lash out at your husband. But if you have the mentality of forgiving, then all of that will not be a big issue in your relationship. So I think realistic expectations, forgiveness is the key. Go into a marriage knowing that, you know, you're going to have to forgive at times. If he didn't put that towel or whatever where you wanted him to, if he didn't do this or if I didn't do, it's going to happen. If you're in it for the long run, it's going to happen. Yeah. That's just the reality of the situation. And then patience. We are constantly growing as individuals. Every 5 to 10 years, we change. He's not the same person that he was mentally. He grows, and I grow too. We have different wants, different needs. You know, it happens. But the coolest thing is...
But you got to talk about those wants and needs and don't catch nobody off guard like a surprise, you know? You got to talk about them along the way.
Communicate. Yeah.
You know?
And then as long as, you know, and we have grown together, you know, but I think what helps with that is communication. So I would say realistic expectations, communication, patience, and forgiveness. I think as long as you focus on those things, and if that love is really there.
It's great love making.
Yes.
That solves everything.
It does.
When all else fails, drop your drop. No.
Shut up, Cory. My Lord Jesus Christ.